Fantastic. Well, you guys, I'm so excited you're here. This is the first ever episode. And I do plan on doing this every Wednesday because I do know that it's really rough right now. It's really uncharted waters and it's stressful and kind of just weird that everyone is at home and some have been cooped up for days and some are just getting to that spot of you can't leave your home. So I appreciate you joining and lightening things up a little bit. I just really wanted to make you guys smile today and share some of my photos and some of our stories from going to Argentina and seeing penguins in their natural habitat. So that's what we're going to talk about today. But first, I think most of you know who I am, but just in case someone's watching the recording, my name is Sarah and I'm a photographer, and I've been fortunate to travel to a lot of places, especially over this last year. And I love to take photos, as you all know. I also love to work with nonprofits and help them out with photography for them. And this over here is my niece, Bella. And she's my travel partner and was my travel partner in Argentina. And you want to tell them what you do?
Yeah, so I am a yoga teacher and breathwork practitioner in training. And yeah, this trip was absolutely amazing. Definitely both of our first time seeing penguins, which is very surreal. And yeah, we really thought it would be wonderful to be able to share an experience of coming to Ushuaia with us virtually. So we really hope you guys enjoy this.
Yeah, and just again, if you guys can stay muted, that would be fantastic. And then also, please, along the way, if you have any questions or thoughts, or we're gonna prompt some questions and some fun stuff along the way. But please put anything in the chat. Bella has her computer over here, so she can be looking at it as well. But please, we want this to be fun, and we want your questions answered if we can answer them. And yeah, we're gonna get started. So I'm gonna share my screen. It's gonna take 1 second for me to get where I need to go. And we'll get started here. Here we are. Okay, bear with me 1 second.
We can't hear. Hello, we're here. Cassandra.
Awesome, great guys. My nephews
sure
and
that
Portland are here. If you can just go on mute, you guys, that would be great.
And then you can write in the text box if you have a question instead of saying it out loud, just so everyone can hear and everyone can see it. Perfect.
Awesome. Okay. All right. Can everyone see my screen? Thumbs up. Yep. Awesome. So, as you guys know, we went to Argentina this past February. Yep. Yes. And it took us 10 hours to fly overnight from New York all the way to the bottom of Argentina, which you can see on this map. It was a very long flight. And we went all the way down to Ushuaia, which is where the end of the world is. So basically, there's a little town at the bottom of Argentina that is the last town on the bottom of the world, essentially, because Antarctica is about 3,000 miles away down south, but there's no cities there. There's nothing really there. So this is the last town at the bottom of the earth. So it was a really cool little town, and it looked like this. So lots of mountains and snow, and just a tiny little town with lots of shops and the water right there. But that's considered the fin du monde. which in Argentina, they speak Spanish. So we were at the end of the world, the fin du monde. And from there, we went to this tiny little, it doesn't even look like Earth because it's so small. It's a little island. And we took a 2-hour bus ride and then took a boat to this little island called Martillo Island. And that's where we saw the penguins. So this is when we get into the good stuff. So while we were on the boat, we started to get closer. This is the island from afar, and you can kind of see the penguins there. There's 10,000 penguins on the entire island, and 10,000 of them, or about almost 10,000 of them, are the Magellan. 130 are Gentoo, and there are 2 king penguins, very rare. We'll tell you a little bit more about them when we get to their pictures, but this is what we saw. We were so excited as we pulled up to the island. When we got closer, you'd see all the penguins. So fun, right, Ramona? I could see you smiling over there. And then we got closer and we started to see them, and we got closer to the end, and we got out of the boat, and there they were, all over. And there's 10,000 of them. So we were only seeing just a portion of them. There were a lot. So I said there were 3 types. This is the Magellan.
So the Magellan penguins are just black and white. This one here is an adult, and you can tell because their fur, I don't know, is smooth. So you'll see later on the babies and the teenagers have more fluffy feathers on them.
Yeah, go ahead.
So the Gentoo ones have orange beaks and orange feet. So that's how you can tell them apart. They're the stereotypical penguin when you imagine one.
And before we go to the next one, which is fun, I have a question from my brother, Vincent Caniglio. He asked if they ran away when we got onto the island, and they didn't. They were very, very calm. They just kind of hung out, but we had to stay. How far away did we have to be from them?
It was about like 3 meters, which is like 6 feet.
Yeah, about 6 feet. We couldn't get close to them because they get very scared and territorial if you go close to them. So we had to stay farther away from them, and respect their space. Yeah.
Some of them actually were like very curious and interesting and like to go and look at us and see what was happening, but other of them kind of kept their own social distance.
Yes, and I just love that. Yep, it does. Everyone's feeling the same thing as the penguins right now with social distancing. And then this was awesome. So this is the king penguin. And as soon as we got on the island, we had heard that there might be a sighting of the king penguin, but there's only 2 of them on the entire island. And they came out of nowhere in 2019 and left because every year between the months of
December
and May, the penguins all go down south to Martillo Island. And then in May, they go back up north. And that sounds kind of funny, right? Like usually birds go south, but it's actually warmer up north in Argentina in the wintertime. So they actually go up north. And so these 2 king penguins came down south in 2019. They went up north and then they came back. And the second year they had a baby. So when we were there was a baby there. And we'll talk a little bit more about how they have their babies and their eggs and all that stuff. So these are a few pictures. I'm gonna kind of go through a little quicker because there's a lot of photos for me to share with you. This is the king penguin with the other penguins. So they all get along. They really love to be with each other.
And then to answer Jen's question, it was definitely cold, but nothing frigid, just, you know, a winter jacket. And we actually got there, we were really lucky, and it was a beautiful sunny day. So I'd say 50s.
We actually were really lucky because usually it's a little rainy. They're having, I got a question. It's a private question, but I think everyone would want to know, did we see any of them swim? We did not.
Kind
They
of.
kind of were in the water.
Just wading in the water.
Yeah, but we didn't really see them actually swim.
But
they do.
That's how they get around.
And then, do you want to talk about the fish?
Oh, the fish.
The mom and dad?
Oh yeah. So the mom and dad, when they have babies, they take turns staying by the nest, which we'll talk about in a minute, the different kinds of nests. And the mommy will go down to the water and get the fish and the food for the baby and the daddy and come back. And then the daddy will go and get the fish. And so that's how they co-parent like that, switching on and off, which is really sweet. And they have a call specific to each family. And I'm gonna try right now, I'm pulling up a video that I can play for you guys in a minute so you can see what they sound like.
Keep putting your questions in. These are Magellans. These are Magellan. These are the most of what we saw that day. Okay, you ready? No. Let's do this first.
Okay.
So what we want to do right now, because this is a baby. This is this fur here indicates that it's a baby. So we thought it'd be fun to name that baby. If you would name that baby, what would you name him or her? I don't know what it was, female or male. So kind of put that into the chat. We'll read those off in a minute. Oh, lion! I like that. It was like a lion name.
Fuzzy. They are really fuzzy. Fluffy.
Oh,
Fluffy Jr.
I love it. Penguin. I like that because it's like a wee penguin. I love it, Ramona. It's awesome. Here's our king penguin again, doing a little walk. This one's just basking in the sun because, you know, they don't get it very often. Another Magellan. This one was literally running towards me. I mean, it was like, hey, come on over.
And it was a tiny bit scary when they would start, because they are a little bit aggressive if you get in their way and bother them. So yeah, they did run fast, Dad.
Fast for penguins.
Yeah,
they do they waddle. It's pretty funny.
It's really adorable, actually. Yeah.
So Bella's gonna play that sound right now. I hope this works. Oh yeah, I'll stop on this for a second. Ready? Did you all hear that?
Making all the penguins, the mommies and daddies and the babies, calling them home or telling them that they're hungry.
So this is actually a baby. Still has a lot of fuzzy fur. How tall are they? They were like maybe 2 feet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not too tall.
The king penguin though is maybe like three
or 4 feet.
Big, really big.
Yeah. Some more Magellans. Lots of Magellans.
I don't think so.
Oh.
Are there any orphan penguins? I don't think so, because there's predators which are one of the main predators is birds, but they actually sadly only come after the baby penguins. So when the eggs.
Yeah.
So
but the sea lions, if they're swimming, is a predator for the other.
So maybe it could happen, but I think they also all are like a big family.
Yeah.
So they take care of each other.
And then I have a question from Kaisa. Do all penguins make that noise? No, well, they all make a noise. It's just different according to their family members. So every family has a distinct noise so they can call each other and talk to each other. But that's really cool.
Yeah, and that video was like the Gentoos and the Magellans all crying out at the same time. So that's why it sounds like that, but they all sound somewhat similar.
You want to talk a little bit about the nests?
Yeah, so this is the Magellan's nest, and they burrow down into the ground and make these little tunnel-like holes, and then they bring in their beaks nice grass and other little materials, natural materials they find, and then they create a nest. And then the Gentoo penguins have a nest that they make out of rocks. So it's not as safe actually. So that's why there's more Magellan penguins on the island than Gentoos, because it's harder for the Gentoo penguins to the babies to stay alive because their nests aren't as safe. And then the king penguins, the daddy holds the baby like this just in front of him until they get bigger. So that's the hardest for the king penguin babies to survive.
So yeah, we saw the king penguin with his baby, but we couldn't. He was protecting it so much I couldn't even get a picture of it. Really wanted one, but I couldn't get it. Before we get to your questions, I want you to look at this picture and caption this. Caption this picture. While you're doing that and we move forward, can the babies walk from birth? No. So the picture that I showed of the baby that was getting older, it just lays there next to its mom. So they stay with their mom for a while until they're ready, just like birds ready to fly. They don't fly, they walk or they go swim, but they stay with their mom until they're ready to move. We were on the, I guess, the southern part of the island.
Yeah, it wasn't that huge of an island, but they had a very specific little route that we took, kind of from the water up inwards. And then, but they were all over. They were hanging out all over the island because as we left, we saw more of them.
Let's see. And then they do stay with them. They do stay with their own types, but they do mingle too. They're not afraid of each other. So like you saw the picture earlier, the king penguin was with the Gentoo penguins, and that's the most rare thing that we saw was the king penguins with the Gentoo penguins. So it was really cool. I love it. Out of my way, I want to greet the new visitors. That's awesome. Yes. My brother says, I wish I could fly. Exactly. They cannot fly. Love it. So awesome. So these are more. So we saw, obviously, you see a lot of my photos are Magellan photos because there are so many of them. Do the groups of penguins have a leader penguin? That's a really good question.
I don't think so.
I think it's just families, you know, their own families. There's not really like a tribe and a leader of a tribe. Now, the king penguin does act like a king. Like he, the whole time, stood there and was like, I am king of the land, even though everybody else doesn't look like me. So it was pretty cool to see him. Love these questions. It's so fun. This one's making the noise that Bella just played. Mm-hmm. And he's protecting, or she is protecting the nest, which is the burrow here. Mm-hmm. He is, or she is, gathering for a nest.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll see the stones later, where the gentoos
Keep their babies.
But interesting, that's why there's so much less gentoos,
Mhm.
because their eggs are so vulnerable because they're not in burrows. All right, name this caption, or caption this photo. It's hilarious.
It can be whatever you want, and then you can just write it in the chat.
Yeah.
Don't poke me. That's a great one.
That's a great one. Keep your questions coming. They're great.
So this is, as you can tell, these ones are a little fluffy. And a fun fact that's super funny, actually, is that all the teenager penguins hang out by the water in their little posses. So this is all the teenagers just hanging out by the water, doing their own thing. Not by mommy and daddy and the babies.
Yeah, you can see their fur is still kind of there. Don't poke me. Eliza says, let's get married. That's amazing. Yep. Because it does look like they're kissing. Lucy says, stay with me until the end of time. I love you.
Oh, that's so sweet.
That'd be a good Valentine card, huh? Do they all lay down at all, or do they sleep standing up?
I think they all lay down.
I think they all lay down.
Yeah.
I actually think, yeah, I don't think they do sit up. I don't know if we really saw them. Maybe they sleep more.
I think they do take like maybe little naps, kind of like how that photo is where they're just sitting there, especially the older ones. We saw a lot of them with their eyes closed, but. That's a cute one.
Yeah, so these are the pebbles, or the rocks.
Mm-hmm.
They kind of burrow in the rocks, but it's not really.
They also build up a little bit of a structure. It's just not that safe, yeah. The guard penguins when they are sleeping.
Well, I do think that we noticed that. I mean, we were there during the day, but we did notice that they were standing guard over the burrows. So that over every burrow there was a penguin. So I would imagine, I don't know the exact answer to that, but I would imagine that they do have one of either the mom or the dad outside the burrow, watching over it.
And I think that similar to whoever's going and getting the food, the other one is protecting the nest, and that probably stays still through the night.
I'm trying to see if there's anything we're missing here. How long do penguins live for? It's a good question.
The Magellan penguins live for about 20 years. So teenager, I guess, would be considered a little younger than like 12.
Not even.
I
think they're teenagers once they start losing their fur.
Yeah.
Remember they said so.
So about 20 years that would be the end of their.
These are great questions. Thank you, Kaisa. Love it. So, Ramona, I think the gentoos look like your stuffed animal there.
Or the king, maybe.
Maybe. I see some white and some orange beak on it. Do penguins fight for mates? I don't know that, but I think that they stay with the same mate.
Oh yeah, they did.
Yeah, I think not sure. I maybe at the beginning they do, before they actually mate, but afterwards they stay with each other for life.
Lovers for life.
Another shot of the king penguin. And so that wraps up the pictures of the penguins, but we have a little bonus because we took a catamaran back to Ushuaia And on the way, we saw a lot of beautiful scenes like this. But on this little island, these little islands here, there's some other wildlife that we wanted to show you just a few pictures of today.
A special animal surprise.
So they're actually sea lions. And there's a whole bunch of them that live on this island, and they live with cormorant birds. So those birds there, they're not penguins. They look like penguins,
but they're not.
But they're not. And they all hang out here. So when we were going by in the boat, they actually stopped for us so we can take some pictures. So these are them a little closer up. They're really pretty birds. Mm-hmm. They do, again, look like penguins from afar. You can see the mountains in the background, but they all just hang out there. They weren't really doing anything but laying there, the sea lions.
Tanning.
There again, the suntan. And those birds are called cormorants. And Tina says she actually has those on her lake. Wow, they can't fly when their wings get wet and they have to lay out in the sun to get dry. So they are sun tanning. Both the birds and the sea lions are sun tanning. Awesome. So that's them hanging out. And another view of them. And this is a little bit of a close-up. They all love to snuggle with each other. And this was a special rare sighting. This is actually an elephant seal. Ronan, I see your eyes perking up. This was an elephant seal that we weren't sure we were going to see, that showed up one day and hangs out with the sea lions on this not even island, I guess tiny island. So we weren't sure we were going to see it. And in fact, when I took this picture, I wasn't even sure if it was the elephant seal, but having been able to download it and look at it, I could tell that it is indeed an elephant seal, which maybe you want to Google that afterwards. They're really cute looking. The ones down in the south are. The ones in other parts of the country, they're a little odd looking. They're like, got like this weird, but this one was cute. So it was really fun to see him hanging out there. And this was our last view of the island and the mountains and all the cormorant birds. And the last kind of part of our trip as we went back into Ushuaia. So with that, I'd love to see if there's any other questions or any other thoughts or any other
anything. Eliza, to answer your question, I just looked it up because I wasn't sure, but the elephant seals are called elephant seals because of how big they are. So you saw that picture, that was pretty close, but they're pretty ginormous. I mean, 6-something.
Yeah, look at them compared to the birds. So.
They're pretty huge. So I think it's just a comparison of size.
Yeah, these birds were really beautiful. And there were tons of them. It was like being on the island with all the penguins. There were just an amazing amount of them.
The population of the elephant seals, I think there was maybe a couple.
No, there was only one.
Yeah. That we saw.
So it's rare for the elephant seals to be in that area, actually. They're more, I think they're usually north.
Yeah, there's only a couple of them, and some of them just somehow get dragged down. And
I don't know, yeah, as far as the elephant seals up north, I think there's a lot more of them. So we were just fortunate to see that one. Any other questions?
what are we going to talk about next
Oh,
time?
I love that question. Did you, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. There we go. So I am still trying to decide what we're going to talk about next time, but what would be a good way to find out first is to go to my website.
And I'm going to put it right now in our chat, the link. I'm going to put the URL.
And right now I'm giving people a free photo note card, and I am having you vote on 4 photos for the note card. So if you go in and give me your email address, I'll keep in touch with you. I'll send you the voting. I'm actually going to extend it a couple of days. It was over today. But then you can pick which one you would like to have. And then we will be able to, is this on us?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, sorry. And the one that gets the majority of the votes is going to be the one that I'm going to make and send to you. And then on Fridays, I send a little email newsletter. And in that newsletter, every Friday, I'm going to announce the next topic. So on this Friday, I'll announce next week's topic. But we will be here again.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time, Bella will probably be with me, especially as we are home here together these next, hopefully only couple of weeks, few weeks. But would love to keep in touch with you, and just so love that you guys came here today. We just really felt like this is a good way to kind of lighten things up. And I always love to share my adventures, and it kind of felt, I said to Bella right before we did this, I said, I can't wait to kind of go on that adventure again and look at the pictures and smile. And I hope it made you smile too. And I look forward to doing more of these over the next several weeks. And I think for you, all of you that know me, I've traveled a lot over around the world. So I've got a lot of content and a lot to share. And I'm so looking forward to be able to do that with you during this time, especially as we're all longing to travel again and get out of the house. So I know it's not exactly the same, but it's, as I said in my invitation and my email, it's a really good thing to just get out in nature. And if you can't do that, just look at photos of nature and turn on the running water. It's actually a way to help you just reduce stress and all of that in this time. So thank you so much for joining. Really, really appreciate it. And if you have any ideas, if you, or you know where I've gone, and I probably will have you guys vote in the future on a few different topics. But if you have any thoughts or ideas or anything that you'd love to see, please let me know. Kaisa's saying Egypt. I knew you were going to say that, Kaisa. I went to Egypt with my sister. So we'll have to get my sister on for that one. Mm-hmm. She's saying yes. A few years ago now. But yeah, we did see thank you, Christina. We did see the pyramids there. So that was really cool.
Yeah, and invite anyone you want.
Absolutely. I am looking, I might change the format a little bit. Again, I'm just learning all this Zoom stuff in a little bit more depth, but I might have more of a webinar, and I might not have people have to register necessarily. So yes, but please invite anyone you want.
Tell your friends, tell your family.
Yeah, and we'll, you know, like I said, I'll let you guys know the topic in advance. As there might be topics I might cover for the adults. I might cover some more of the nonprofits that I've worked with and show you a little bit about that work. Yeah, but
more animal ones.
Well, yes. Did someone say that?
No,
Animal ones?
I've seen.
Well, yeah, we have lots. I have lots of animal photos. So that's just maybe a clue for next week. Mm-hmm. I'll leave you with that. So thank you so much. Yeah, keep in touch, and would love to hear from you. And I hope you all stay well and have creative ways to be together, but hopefully this will pass, and not hopefully, this will pass, and we'll, in the meantime and afterwards, bring this to you. So thank you so much. We'll see you soon. And I'm actually recording this, so I'm going to share the recording out as well, so you can see it again, and share that with your friends. So thanks a lot. We'll talk to you soon. See you next week. Bye.